Today we're headed to Powell, Tennessee, which is a town that is about 10 miles out of Knoxville, and we're headed there to see the final resting place of Archie Campbell. Archie Campbell was born in the small town of Bulls Gap, Tennessee, which is about 60 or maybe a little over 60 miles from where he's buried at, and he was born to the parents of James and Leona Campbell. Well, as you can see, we've arrived at the cemetery, and this is the Glenwood Cemetery in Powell, Tennessee. And it does have some roadway here. You could park on the side of it or even go up one of the smaller roads there. But we've decided we're going to park in the church parking lot here and end up walking into the cemetery to find the grave of Archie Campbell. Well, we've got parked now in the parking lot, and I'm going to be walking through the cemetery to find the grave. And as I do that, I'll just mention some things about Archie Campbell that you may or may not already know. His dad was a Southern Railroad locomotive engineer, and Archie was one of 4 children to the family. He had 1 brother and 2 sisters. Archie Campbell did go to college. He would study art at Mars Hill College in Mars Hill, North Carolina. After this, he would begin a radio career in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he would end up in 1941 joining the Navy. After his duty in World War II in the Navy, Archie Campbell would return to work at the radio station in Knoxville. And as we're getting just close to the top of the hill here, we've noticed, and we can see it just a little bit there past this tree, the name Campbell showing up on a marker, and we're hoping that is going to be the one of Archie Campbell. So let's take a closer look. As we're getting closer to see if this is Archie's actual gravesite, I'll mention a couple more things about him. He would end up marrying Mary Lee Lewis while he was in the Navy, and they would become the parents of 2 sons. And from what I'm looking at now, yes, we have came to the right marker. This is Archie's final resting place. And as you can see, the marker is for both Archie and his wife Mary. And we're going to take a closer look. And if you're looking at the birth date and death date for Archie Campbell, you will notice that he passed away at the age of 72. And while you're getting a better look there of the marker, I'll mention a couple of more things about him. And that is that after his radio station job, he would leave and go to work for another job in Knoxville, and there he would start the first country music television show that they had in the area, and it was called Country Playhouse. The Country Playhouse television show would start up in 1952 and run until 1958, and at the close of that show is when Archie Campbell would end up moving to Nashville, Tennessee. That move to Nashville would be because he had got the job offer to be on the part of the Grand Ole Opry on the Prince Albert segment of the show. Since mentioning the Grand Ole Opry, a couple more things about Archie, and that is that he definitely was a member of the Grand Ole Opry, but something I found out when doing research before making the video on Archie Campbell is that he had painted a mural that would be installed there at the Grand Ole Opry House. And as you will remember, I had stated that he went to college and studied art while he was in college. So most people are going to remember Archie Campbell as being a comedian, but I think of him as a lot of other things too. I found out that he is a great painter, and I will insert a picture or two that he has painted over the years. And he even had an art gallery that he owned in Knoxville. But he also was a writer. He would write a lot of the skits or different things for Hee Haw, which everyone knows that Archie Campbell had a big part on Hee Haw. He was actually on it from the beginning, and he did a lot of things there, and he also did a lot of the singing when they would have, especially like the gospel quartet, or sometimes it'd be more or less than 4 people in it. But he was part of the Hee Haw singing group. And Archie Campbell was a pretty good singer, and he did release several records and albums. And you may want to check it out just to hear it, because, like I said, most people are going to just think of him as a comedian. Now I'm giving you a look at a foot marker, I guess you would call it, for Archie Campbell's gravesite, and it's already looks like broken and grass coming through it. I don't see one on the side for his wife of Mary, but just thought I would let you know there is like a little foot marker there, but nothing is on it, and it's already showed you there's nothing on the back of his marker either. As we get our final look of Archie Campbell's gravesite, we'll take a moment to look at that, and then we're going to head on back to the truck. And as we do that, I want to mention my final thoughts or things that I found out about Archie Campbell. And I guess one of the things that kind of surprised me, I didn't realize he wrote a lot of the material for Hee Haw, and he played a big part of it. And one of the things they said is that he'd already brought the comedy section where he goes that and we're gone thing, and it started out with him and just Gordy Tapp to start with, but then over the years on Hee Haw they would change it to whoever was the guest star that was going to be performing for the show that day would do the skit with Archie Campbell. But he did several skits also that were on Hee Haw, such as being the doctor, and he just played a big part in that TV show, and I guess people don't realize that he did as big a part as he did. Another thing that I found out about him is that the show started in 1969, and he was there from the beginning of the show. And in that year, it was a big year for Archie Campbell, not only starting on the Hee Haw show, but he got to be awarded the Comedian of the Year in 1969 by the Country Music Association. If you haven't listened to Archie Campbell singing, I would recommend that you may want to listen to some of his early recordings that he did with a duo partner, Lorene Mann, and the songs are Tell It Like It Is and The Dark End of the Street. It's both really good songs. But he also did some songs just by himself that were pretty neat, I thought, and that one of them is called Daddy Don't You Walk So Fast. And I also like that he gave, it's kind of like the Battle of New Orleans type thing, but he sang it as a tribute song to Sergeant York, which is Sergeant Alvin York from Tennessee. So I really like that one, and think that you would enjoy listening to it as well. You may be hearing some dogs in the background as we started walking up the hill toward the truck. There is some houses down just a little ways from the cemetery, and a couple of the dogs had started barking, I guess at us, but I'm not really sure on that. As Archie Campbell is known most famously as a comedian, and a very good one at that, I might add, I have to mention something he called in his storytelling portions of his comedy acts or skits that he was doing, is something he called spoonerism. And that was, he would say it's a form of switching letters from the front to the back or mixing them up in words to tell. And one of his most famous spoonerism stories is a childhood story called Cinderella, but his name for it is called Rendacella. And it's really hilarious to listen to. And if you haven't heard it, you really should check that out. Another famous Archie Campbell skit that I enjoyed was from Hee Haw called That's Bad, That's Good. And he did that mostly with Roy Clark. Now for one more stop before ending the video. We went up the road and found the address of where Archie Campbell supposedly lived, and it's supposed to be off so kind of secluded, and we did see a neighbor as we came up, and she would stand out in her yard and had her dogs out there, and they were barking at us. So we figured we might be invading private territory. But here's one of the mailboxes that belonged to the area, and it was down that road that I first showed you. As always, I want to say thank you so very much for watching my video. I hope you found out something about Archie Campbell that you didn't already know. And as always, I hope you have a good day.